Here's a question I hear all the time from people who've been using Claude for a few weeks. They say, okay, I get how to ask it things for myself, but how do I actually use this with other people? And can I stop retyping the same setup every single time? Those are exactly the right questions, and they're what this whole lesson is about. Up until now, you've probably been using Claude solo. You type something in, Claude responds, you read it, done. And that's genuinely useful. But Claude can do a lot more when you think of it as a tool that fits into the wider parts of your life, your team at work, your family projects, your weekly routines. Today you're going to learn how to share Claude's output, how to collaborate on something together with Claude in the room, and how to build simple repeatable workflows so you're not starting from scratch every time. Let's start with the most basic form of sharing, getting Claude's work out of the chat and into the hands of someone else. When Claude writes something for you, a draft email, a summary, a plan, a list, that text lives inside the conversation. To share it, you simply copy it. Highlight the response, copy it, and paste it wherever you need it. Into an email. Into a Google document, into a message to your partner. Into a note for your team. Claude's output is just text. Plain, readable, pastable text. There's nothing locked away, no special export button you need to find. It goes wherever text goes. Here's a real example. Say you've asked Claude to write a summary of a long article you're sharing with your book club. Claude gives you a clear, clean paragraph. You copy it, paste it into your group chat, and suddenly everyone's up to speed before the meeting. You didn't write that summary yourself, but it sounds thoughtful, it's accurate to what you gave Claude, and it saves everyone 20 minutes of reading. That's sharing at its simplest. Try this right now. Go to Claude and say, summarize this in 3 bullet points for someone who hasn't read it, and then paste in something, an article, an email thread, even a few paragraphs from a document. When Claude gives you those bullets, copy them and drop them into an email or a message to someone in your life. See how it lands. That's your first sharing win. Now let's talk about something a little more interesting, using Claude as a collaborator, not just a responder. Most people treat Claude like a search engine or a vending machine. You put something in, you get something out, end of transaction. But Claude is actually much better when you treat it like a thinking partner. That means going back and forth. It means saying, I don't love that, try again with a warmer tone. It means saying, here's what my colleague pushed back on, how would you address that? It means treating the conversation as a draft, not a final answer. This shift in mindset changes everything. When you're working on something with another person, say, planning a neighborhood fundraiser with a friend, you can both contribute ideas and then use Claude to help shape them. One of you starts the conversation. Claude responds. You paste that response into a shared doc. Your friend reads it, adds their thoughts, and you bring those thoughts back to Claude in the next message. Claude doesn't know your friend exists, but it's effectively helping both of you think through the same problem. Here's a concrete try this for collaboration. Next time you and someone else are stuck on a decision, which caterer to hire, how to word a difficult message to a landlord, how to structure a school project, bring the details to Claude together. Sit at the same laptop if you can, or share the conversation by copying and pasting. Ask Claude to lay out the pros and cons, or to draft 2 different versions of something so you can compare. Then you and the other person react to what Claude gives you, and use that as a jumping-off point for your own discussion. Claude becomes the third voice in the room, one that doesn't have an ego, doesn't get tired, and will cheerfully rewrite the same paragraph 6 times without complaining. Okay, let's move into something that sounds more advanced but is genuinely beginner-friendly, simple repeatable workflows. A workflow just means a sequence of steps you do regularly. And if you find yourself typing the same kind of setup into Claude over and over, every Monday, every time you need to write a certain kind of email, every time you start a new project, there's a better way. The simplest version of this is saving a prompt template. Not a technical thing. Literally just a note on your phone or in a document where you've written out the full setup you give Claude for a task you do often. So instead of rebuilding it from scratch every time, you open your notes, copy your saved prompt, paste it into Claude, fill in the 1 or 2 things that change each week, and you're off. Let me make this concrete. Let's say every Friday you send a short update email to your small team or your volunteer group about what got done this week. Right now, maybe you stare at a blank screen for 10 minutes, then write something that feels fine but not great. With a saved prompt template, you'd have something like this saved in your notes. Here is my rough list of what happened this week. Paste your list. Please turn this into a friendly, professional update email of about 1 paragraph. Keep it warm and concise. Every Friday, you fill in your list, paste the whole thing into Claude, and you have a polished email draft in about 30 seconds. That's a workflow. Simple, repeatable, genuinely useful. Try this one this week. Think of one thing you do regularly that involves writing: a weekly email, a monthly report, a recurring to-do list, a check-in message with someone. Write out the setup you'd give Claude to help with that task. Save it somewhere easy to find. Then use it. Notice how much faster the task goes when you're not rebuilding the instructions every time. Now, Claude also lets you set a clear context at the start of a conversation, before you dive into the actual task. This is sometimes called a system prompt or just setting the scene, and it's worth knowing about even as a beginner. When you start a new chat, you can open with a sentence or 2 that tells Claude who you are and what you're trying to do. Something like, "I'm a small business owner who sells handmade jewelry. I need help writing social media captions that feel personal and not too sleazy." That context shapes everything Claude says afterward. It doesn't have to be long. Even 2 sentences of setup makes a real difference. This is especially useful when you're going to share Claude's output with others, because it helps Claude match the right voice and level from the start. If you're writing for your company's newsletter, say that. If you're writing something your elderly parent will read, say that. The more Claude knows about the reader, the better the output will be for that specific audience. There's one more thing I want to mention before we wrap up, and it's about keeping yourself in the loop. When you start sharing Claude's work or building little workflows, it can be tempting to just let Claude run and share whatever it produces without much review. Please don't do that. Claude is a tool. Like any tool, it works best when a human is paying attention. Always read what Claude wrote before you send it to someone. Make sure the facts are right, especially if you gave Claude information to work from. Make sure the tone is appropriate for the relationship. Make sure it actually sounds like something you'd stand behind. Claude helps you move faster, but your judgment is still the most important ingredient. You are not outsourcing your thinking. You are getting a very good assistant to help you express it. So let's bring this whole lesson together. Today you learned 3 things you can actually do right away. First, sharing is as simple as copying and pasting. Claude's output is plain text that goes anywhere. Use it in your emails, your group chats, your shared documents. Start there. Second, treat Claude like a collaborator, not a vending machine. Go back and forth. React to what it gives you. Bring other people's questions and pushback into the conversation. The more you engage, the more useful it gets. Third, build simple prompt templates for the tasks you repeat. Save them somewhere accessible. This tiny habit will save you real time every single week, and it's not technical at all, it's just being organized about the way you talk to Claude. And across all of it, stay in the loop. Read before you share. Keep your judgment active. If today's lesson clicked for you, I want to invite you to keep going. At claudeaiclass.com/course, you'll find the full beginner's curriculum, every module, laid out in order, with more examples and hands-on practice. It's built for real people with real busy lives, not engineers. Come find us there, and I'll see you in the next lesson.